And, like, honestly, I was suicidal at a point. Like, I didn't want to be here anymore.
Welcome to the Black is the New Rich podcast. I'm your host, Corey Cash, where we interview entrepreneurs and humanitarians. And today I'm very, very, very excited about our guest that we have on today. It's one of my best friends that I've known for over 20 years. He's been through blood, sweat, and tears when it comes to his career. I don't want to take too much of his shine though. So introduce yourself.
David Tyndale, thanks for having me, Corey. Appreciate it, man. It's good to be here. Definitely been a long time coming. So, yeah, I am former basketball player, I guess, a short professional career, now professional trainer. Like to say that, I guess, trained from the grassroots level up, as young as you've got a dream. As young as you've got a dream and you've got, a hunger towards it, I'll be there with you. But like I said, right up to the professional level. So, yeah.
Oh, okay, dope. I know you're not a type of guy that likes to name drop and all, but can you name me some of the players, the professional, the NBA players and former NBA players that you've worked with over the years?
Some of the players I've working with currently still, Josh Primo, Nick Stauskas, Corey Joseph, Andrew Nicholson, Dylan Brooks, Naz Long, a lot of the Canadian ones, as you can definitely see, doing stuff with Canada basketball, national team programs and stuff. You definitely get to be in the gym with a lot of the talent, some of the other guys that are still currently in the league as well, and the young ones coming up on the men's and the women's side. So the future looks really bright, especially for Canada basketball. So it's just a blessing to be a part of it and be able to be in the gym and influence them in any way I can.
Okay, dope. So before we get into your current situation and training and stuff like that, let's bring it all the way back. Where did basketball start for you?
Wow, basketball first started for me. Obviously, I'm the youngest of four. I got two older brothers, an older sister, all of whom played basketball, definitely. But my love for it, my mom went on a business trip to Chicago, I believe it was, and she went to like a little Michael Jordan store. Of course, he's gonna have a store, and they had like a 3-set VHS Michael Jordan movie set. Michael Jordan Airtime, Above and Beyond, Come Fly Me. You definitely know. Yeah. You know, we used to watch these a lot, but when I got those, I was probably 7 or 8, and like watching it, like I was just so fascinated and just like taken by the intensity, the competitiveness, the fire, the drive, the discipline, the hunger, and just the movements as well at the same time. Obviously flawless, pretty much perfection is Michael Jordan. So seeing these things, you go outside, you want to play on your net outside, you try to imitate some of the things that you see, and it was fun. Like you kind of love it that way. And for me, being the youngest, I didn't really get to play with my brothers. So that's kind of where I kind of got lost in it, kind of watching from the sideline and just doing my thing on my own,
Okay, dope. So for the people that don't know, I'm going to say it because I know you don't like to boost yourself, but in high school, definitely one of the best players in the city for sure. When did you start to know that, I'm good at this game? Yeah.
For me, like early, obviously I felt like I had ability. I felt like I was, I had some skill, but being undersized, no matter what you do, like you can't really help it, but doubt is going to set in.
Because you're undersized?
Because being undersized, what I mean? Like you could believe in yourself. Like everybody's going to feel this. Like even if you don't say it and show it, because I definitely never showed it.
Yeah, no.
But like at the same time, like I felt that, you know what I mean? So there was kind of that holding me back, I'd say at a point. But then I think, when I got to high school, my first year was pretty good. Like in grade 9, it was a lot of stress going into it, but I felt like I was pretty good. And then my 10th grade year, I felt like I was a lot better. And then after 11th grade, I had an injury and I came back after the injury for grade 12. And I felt like my grade 12 year before doing that victory lap year was like when I realized I'm really good. Like, yeah, I'm really good. Like, the older guys you play with, you battle with, when you can get one up on one of them on a day at the YMCA or something. And, the guys that kind of tested you when you were going through the trenches and coming up as a player, when you get to go at them and, win the day against them and outplay them game after game after game, it kind of means something to you. So you kind of realize like, you know what? Yeah, like all this competing has kind of paid off. So, I feel like I made those improvements, so.
Dope. So from Father Gates, you're playing high school ball at Father Gates, and then you make your transition to York. What was your mindset, or why did you choose to stay at York?
So, I mean, out of high school, the recruitment thing was much different than it is today.
For sure.
As I said, being an undersized guard, things weren't like, people didn't fall in love with you that quickly. Let's say that. They were
still after the big men.
Yes. We played with one of the most talented ones, and Andrew, in my opinion, the most talented big man that Canada's seen. Facts. In my opinion. And, playing with him, like seeing how the recruitment went for him versus how, it went for me. Obviously, different types of players, different positions. I realized it was going to be a little harder, you know what I mean? And, everybody has to be realistic and kind of know their level. I know that going to the South was going to kind of make or break me. And I felt like staying here at the point and the way my recruiting was up to the timeline where it was, with the uncertainty, it was like, you know what, I think I got to have something that's set in stone. So let me just stay here. And, someone that we've played with and looked up to in Toot Roch, he played at York as well after playing at Father Gates, after being All-Canadian, and after having success and getting ready for a professional career himself. I kind of was like, this is kind of a blueprint. Doesn't hurt to follow it,
and you guys played together.
And we got to play together, and that was something that kind of, was valuable in itself too. I learned a whole lot. So, and being close to home, once I got to York, it felt like, I could get out of here, but there was other things that were in place and happening that made me feel like, it's kind of good that I'm here. My nephew, who is one of those up and coming kids in basketball out here, he was getting to see me play when he was a baby and real young. And that kind of, has stuck with him. And I know that it stuck with him and it's affecting him in his approach to the game. So that means more to me than anything,
Because like in a bird's eye view now, even thinking about it, just you staying down here for your nephew has been like, it's like it was written. Like that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, more impactful. You know what I mean?
More
like,
impactful.
The impact. That's one thing. Obviously, like what I would have felt was the best thing to do was obviously be in the States. And when I had the opportunities to leave, whatever would have been the best thing. But I was getting my degree at the same time, and like I said, family, the support, my friend circle, my peoples got to see me play and put on little shows, I guess, on those Friday nights,
shows.
So it was kind of cool. So and then again, Javion being in the gym at the same time is just, I seen how intense he was watching, and he was only in a stroller. So seeing those eyes, I knew that there was something bigger.
For sure.
For me.
Especially the way it plays out now.
Yeah,
what's going on now.
Yeah, so we'll see. God, keep pushing him. That young man, bless him. So for sure.
For sure. Okay, so take me through your pro process. You went from York, and then you started to play for pro for a little bit. What happened there?
So after York University, it was tough getting a job right away. Representation, again, this was a time where a lot of these things weren't heavy in place. There was maybe 2 agents out here and didn't really have good representation right away. And then eventually, got to connect with certain people and, went on little tours. I went to China a little bit and played out there, which was great, testing my talent against CBA teams. I went to work against CBA teams, G League select teams. And I felt like, I played at a very high level, and I realized, no, I'm going this way with my, my basketball career, because I'm a later bloomer as it is, and I'm figuring things out more, and I'm a faithful student. So, things were going up after that, and played with a little group out here in Toronto against one of the teams in the NBL, Brampton A's, and I had a very, very good showing against those guys. And from there, I signed right away professionally. I didn't really go through the whole draft or combine process. I signed off. Right away. I signed off of a game, and I know I definitely realized again, this was another revelation that, hey, I'm here. So I knew it was only up. And the playing career was short, the pro career I went through tough. Like it started out, when I really look back, like I got a concussion in training camp. I forget this, but I got a concussion in training camp in my first year. And that when you go into training camp, yes, you're the first guy they signed, but there's 7 other guards. when you go to training camp. So right away when you get hurt, it's like, oh man, like the thoughts in your mind, so now you're at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
So you got to fight your way back now. So I went through that process, which was kind of, obviously, but that's what we're built for, you know what I mean? So it went my way. Like I fought my way back and, eventually got back into the rotation. And in my first game in Mississauga, actually against Toot, as a professional, and you were there, you got to see that game. My first game in Mississauga. Yeah, it just so happened that, I was playing my best game to date at this point, and I went through a pretty bad injury where I tore my meniscus, like completely, pretty much lateral medial, and from there it was an uphill battle, so go through that injury, you start going up, and then you hit rock bottom with the injury, and then I got a surgery done and the rehab process began, which was something that, I definitely obsess over, and I like the process, and I like the, again, the discipline that it takes, you know what I'm saying? So went through that process, got myself back from the injury, and, realized that there was something still going on with my knee. And, that kind of led to another setback where, I had to go back under the knife, and which kind of
meaning surgery.
Yes. Which gave me more insight as to what was really going on, which was the surgery wasn't done as it should have been done initially. And, there was kind of more damage that had been done. Let's just say that. So from there, it kind of, was really frustrating, and, the damage had gotten pretty bad, and, advice from a surgeon that I had at the time was, definitely get yourself back to it. But, it's going to be tough to continue to do this at the level you're doing it at with the state of your knee. Zero cartilage pretty much at this point, and early arthritis is not something that you want to play with, especially if you're a smaller guard, creating space, explosiveness, it's not something that says longevity.
It's high impact.
Yeah. So for me, joints. Again, like I got myself back from the injury. Don't get me wrong, I rushed. I have regrets about it to this day. I wish I took more time, but part of the pressures, especially in those times, not as much guidance is, get back on the court. You gotta make sure you're playing quicker. You need to be playing. You can't sit. So I felt like I kind of, even though I wasn't feeling great, after the second surgery, I felt like I kind of rushed back, and, I got to play, but it got to a point where it was like the pain was so much worse. The recovery rate was so much slower, and it was like
swelling knees.
Swelling knees. Can't bend past I want to say 90. Can't bend past 110 degrees. Can't walk down the stairs.
Yeah.
And it's just the reality of, like, again, the joint was completely compromised, and there was more time that was needed to heal. And now the things that we know now about natural medicine, obviously, and those things would have definitely helped me to, get back to it a little bit quicker for sure. But for me, again, it was a choice at that point. Like, do I want to continue to do this? Do I want to be able to move freely longer? I mean, walk away from the game, still try and find some involvement, but kind of walk away and kind of have a different position in it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how the pro career went. It was just a couple years, and the professional career in a different way began pretty much right after that. So yeah.
Okay, so take me through the mindset of knowing that, this game is short for you, is a little bit short-lived, or your pro career is short-lived. Take me through the mindset of you being at, I guess, what would you call it, the bottom, and how you rock bottom, and how you got yourself out, for people that are in the same type of situations.
Absolutely. Well, rock bottom is obviously is no joke. People want to act like that rock bottom is real. And what were your thought process? What were you going through? I hated basketball, that's for sure. I hated it. I hated myself. I hated everyone. That's the number one. I had a lot of anger. That's for sure. I had a lot of anger, but then with that came like a sadness, a depression. And, honestly, I was suicidal at a point. Like, I didn't want to be here anymore. And I can say I was drinking a lot more, a lot more, like full wine bottles a day. Those days it was literally just, sorrow. So, it kind of was a dark place, and, getting out of it was was tough. Obviously it took like people close to me pushing me into, you know, the right directions and, you know, proper advice. But for me, like what I ultimately knew where I would find kind of that piece was still being around the game and in a different capacity, as I said. So, you know, coaching and training and doing skill development was something that was super, super valuable for me to, you know, stay in it and get over it, if you want to say, you know what I mean? And it's still a process. You know, it's not something that's
happens overnight.
Yeah, it's done. It's still a process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Till this day, it's still something that I was telling Alan Bubba that, you know, I have dreamed I'm still going for 50. I swear to God. I said that to him today. I swear to you, I said that. So, you know, those kind of feelings and those visions or the detachment of it or what could have been or what I should have done or those feelings still come up. But I know the impact, as I said, with the now is so much greater.
So for someone that's kind of going through similar situations where their basketball careers kind of come to an end, would you say like there's light at the end of the tunnel? Absolutely.
And, you know, there's so many avenues, right? And, you know, with the game, obviously the game teaches you so much different things. You know, it's not just about the game. You know, within it, there's so many different skills that you're learning. There's so many different connections that you make. Like basketball is a family, as we all know this, you know what I mean? So along the way, like, again, my advice for anybody along the way, remember the people that you meet, remember them, keep them close, especially the ones that impacted you, because again, when it comes to life, those people are going to have you as well and help you get through things and kind of push you in the right directions. You know what I mean? And again, give you kind of a piece where, you know, you could still have involvement and, you know, grow with the game as well, but also again find peace with the game, you know. So yeah, like with basketball, obviously the community now, like going back to days in high school, I'm seeing opportunities being presented to myself from opposing coaches, people that we played against, guys we, you know, that coached against us when we had no idea or thought process that someone in this community would be kind of push me in the direction here or there or trying to give me more positions in this game, you know what I mean? So again, it's more than just a game. Again, like when you're in it, treat it like, again, a family and a network and build with that. You know what I mean? So you don't feel left completely empty when it's done, because that's what I feel a lot of people feel like when the playing is done, it's just over. Yeah. You know, but it shouldn't be, you know, it shouldn't be. So
there's a lot more.
There's a lot more. There's so much more.
So how would you say that playing the game of basketball relates to life, everyday life?
Wow. Well, life has a lot of, well, for me, and like playing style obviously creates a different approach, a mindset in terms of how you feel the relation is. But basketball is about creativity, in my opinion, and like figuring it out. And I know life has a lot of that in it, a lot of figuring it out. You know what I mean? Like things aren't just what they are. Like you're not stuck. There's ways around things. And, you know, for me, that's why I approach the game. So that's how I also now approach life in a way. You know what I mean? Roadblocks and things that you face, you know, you can always overcome. There's another game, if you want to say, as it relates
Next
to basketball.
play.
Yes, exactly. That type of mentality. But as I said before, the different things in life skills that basketball teaches in terms of, you know, the discipline, the structure, the regimen, especially if you're serious. Don't get me wrong. If we're talking elite basketball right here, right? Like that's what we're talking, like that regimen, the discipline, the approach, that structure to just how you live your life and your days, it should revolve around basketball completely. If you want to talk for real, if you're an elite basketball player, you know what I mean? So, you know, that overall just being all in on something, you know, when it comes to life, it kind of helps you a lot more. So, you know, there's no half stepping. You know, if you're trying to be elite in basketball, there's no half stepping. Like how far can you take this, if you want to say, you know what I mean? Right. So, it's just really the grind, right? It's just really the grind. And that's really what, you know, the game is about. And that's what life is about.
Life is about.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sure.
For me, again, and that's one way of putting it. So there's so many different ways that there's, you know, parallels, but, you know, again, basketball is just, obviously to me, I'm not going to lie. It's obviously the greatest game. It's the most entertaining game. It's a beautiful thing. It's an art form. It's expression. It's all of that, you know, and let your game speak is one of the biggest things, you know, for me as well. You know, like anything you feel in life, the basketball court is a place where you can, you know, kind of let it out.
Be free.
And be free, you know, like it's amazing. So it's so many connections, so many parallels again, but yeah, ball is life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. Ball is life.
Yeah, facts. So for the people that have never seen you train, and obviously I got the privilege to see you train, and there's just one thing that I always notice when I watch you, like whether you're training the pros or someone in the NBA or training little 7-year-olds, you're at the same intensity. You will talk the same way and coach them the same with grit and hard, like, why? How do you describe your even teaching style?
Yeah, it's toughness and it's an intensity, definitely. And it's trying to, again, bring more out of who's in the gym. And my thing is this: if you're in the gym with me, I'd hope you are chasing something. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I'd hope you're trying to take this game somewhere if you're signing up. You know what I mean? So if you're signing up and you're trying to take this game somewhere, let's take it somewhere. And
don't waste your time.
Yeah, don't waste your time, because my thing is, it's quality over everything. It's game reps. It's simulation. You have to simulate what you're going to experience in a game. So, if you're not going at that speed, I'm going to let you know about it. If you're not dipping your shoulder the right way, I'm going to let you know about it. If you're not getting the right energy transfer, popping up like a game winner on that shot, I'm going to let you know about it. Fatigue is going to set in, but that's the war and that's the grind, right? So for me, again, like that accountability piece and trying to bring the most out of clients I work with is something that, again, like maybe while they're going through it, they don't necessarily like it, but the proof is in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? Like when they step onto the court and they're getting things that they didn't think that they could get before, and it's happening, it's like, oh, wow. Like, almost forcing my hand, if you want to say. So, if you're going to be a client of mine, I'm hoping that I'm going to close you as a client, and that's how I close.
Because I'm seeing kids that, like, they started off a little bit, like, I don't want to say they're not as good, but maybe just, not as skilled as like some other kids their age. Then I'll come back like 3 months later and I'm like, yo, this kid is sick.
No, but that's how it goes. It's consistency. You know what I mean? And once you've built a connection, yes, like I'm not going to, first time I'm seeing someone start barking at them and tell them, what the fuck? Like, go faster. You're shit. Like, no, are you shit? Like, I'll ask kids, are you shit? If you want me to tell you the truth, I'll ask some kids, are you shit? Okay, you're not. So then don't move like that.
Exactly.
Because it's a standard. Ultimately, that's what it's about, right? If you're going to lower your standard and do bullshit reps or slow reps or not high quality reps, then I'm going to let you know about it, because that's not beating a good defender. That's not beating the guy that you struggled scoring against last game. Because if you're not thinking like that, then what are you even in this gym for? To train? You know what I mean? So that's something that I'm very serious about, because growing up not having trainers per se, it sucks, because we take it there ourselves. You take it there. You're simulating that yourself, full speed yourself on your own. And if that's what you're doing, like without somebody, and these kids have somebody right in front of them and they're still not doing it,
sums off.
It's tough, max effort, max energy, good attitude about it. And that's it, will work.
Okay, dope. So we're in a saturated market for everything, like even like photography, videography, basketball trainers, all types of different careers. What separates the good trainers from the great trainers, in your opinion?
Okay. Well, trainers, like, again, there's people say it all the time, like Instagram trainers, or, you know what I mean? People that do things for show. With anything where you're providing a service in health, or where you're trying to provide growth, there needs to be a needs analysis. Number one, like, what does my player need? What does my player need? Like, what do they need? Where can they improve? And also for me, it's like having a plan of attack, right? These are just basic things to start with. Having a plan of attack, because again, there's people that don't plan. If you're not planning, that's a problem. Like, I am someone, if I go to my, like, whether it's notes in my phone, notebooks, like I have different places where I have my stuff and I know where it is and I organize it a certain way. There's some people that have never written anything down and everything is off the top. Yes, there's times for that. Be creative. But if you know your client, you can be creative. Yeah. Because you've repped it. You study what you do, right? But again, those are all part of the whole thing. Like, if you're not studying, if you're a great trainer, you're studying.
What are you studying exactly?
You're studying, for example, if you're training high school kids, let's put it this way. If you're training high school kids that are trying to go to the next level, okay? one, what are elite skills that are needed at the next level? So are you watching the college game at that next level that player is supposed to go to?
Direct next level.
Exactly. Their direct next level. Like, because everybody has a goal, right? Our goal is to level up. Our goal is not to be here and just stay here. Our goal is, okay, especially if you're in the game, is I either want to get a bigger, if you're at the highest level, I need a bigger contract, whatever it may be. You're trying to level up somehow. Next level, right? Yeah. So again, if you're training, like, you have to look at your next level. Yeah. You know what I mean? And study that next level. Like I said, necessary skill sets for position. These are things, as I say, as a part of a needs analysis. You can't just make player A do what player C does, because he's never going to do that. Player C, you know what I'm saying? So those kind of things are super basic things, but very, very important. And a trainer has to be willing to tell the player what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. True. And not feel bad about it. You know, again, if they're not doing it good enough, I feel like they need to know that, because if they don't know that, then they're going to think that they're not good enough is good enough. And then when they're going to get to another level where everybody's doing good enough, like real good enough, they're not going to last.
And that translates to life.
Right? It's like I said, it's the effort, it's the focus, it's the trying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't not try. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people always are leaving some in the tank, and like that kind of mentality, again, is if you're willing to let people leave some in the tank, like, you don't really want them to be great. Yeah. You don't really want them to get the most out of it. You know what I mean? So that's another part of it. Like, you got to be able to push your clients. You know what I mean? Push your athletes. That's a must. You know what I mean? Make them uncomfortable. And again, obviously the communication piece is a part of this as well. It's not just drill. I'm just going to just kill this person and push them. Yeah, no, you have to also be able to communicate well, you know, very specific. My brand is details matter. So the language is super, super important in helping kids of different learning styles grasp different things, you know, all together, whether it's a group environment, individual, but again, to get the most out of their sessions, making them want more and to always be consistent as clients, you know what I mean? So like, I remember, like, even me playing, like, sometimes I would have the up and downs of just like my mentality. If I have an off shooting game, like, how do you teach kids to like toughen up their mentality or stay like, you know, stay hard? Shoot. See, as you say, I was very similar too, you know, I mean, I'd get down on myself for sure. Like, it would get me in my head, but now it's like, you know, the whole, it's funny, we talk about breathing and stuff a lot more now. Wish we talked about it more growing up. Jeez, yeah. But within sessions, it's crazy. I got specific kids that I've definitely have to have them do some box breaths during sessions. What is that exactly? So say in for four, hold for four, out for four, right? Breathing techniques and whatnot, just to center themselves. You know what I mean? I don't tolerate any bad body language, whether it's slouching shoulders off of a missed shot, whether it's rolling eyes, whether it's those, I don't tolerate them at all. You know, it's a complete poker face mentality. For me, it's complete, it's a complete, like, you're hunting shots, because like I said, my camp is my camp, and the people I train in the way I've approached the game as you know, I'm gonna still have the big kahunas to take a shot, even though I've maybe missed all these shots, and I'm still gonna want to take this with the same confidence, and I'm gonna believe I'm gonna make it, even if it's tough, high degree of difficulty. That mentality, like, I don't know, I can't shake that, because it's like, how do you expect to do that if you're not training like that? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't work for me. So, I mean, that mindset of, you know, hunting a next shot, not concerning with the miss, not concerning with how things are going, and just playing till zero. Throughout my sessions from start to finish, the intensity doesn't drop, as we said. And that's one of the ways that I keep it definitely in check and help the kids with that, you know. Like, mantras is something that I'll do with the kids as well. You know, for me as a player, I used to have things later in my career, not early. I learned these things a lot later. Things that I would read to myself before practices, before workouts, before games, just as an identity piece. Like, who am I as a player? What do I do? What do I bring to the table? You know what I mean? Because you're gonna have games where you don't feel like you should take that shot. No, I'm not passing up transition pull-up threes, because that's what I do. Yeah. That's what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to pass up opportunities to push the ball in transition. I'm not going to pass up opportunities to drive and dish and create easy finishes for my bigs. Yeah. Those are identity pieces that you need to remind yourself. So the foot's on the gas, you know, the game comes and it's kill mode immediately. You know what I'm saying? That kind of exercise is something, you know, and it varies for different players, because every player is different. If it's a shooter, like, I'm not passing up open shots, I'm going to have the same confidence. I'm not going to show bad body language after a miss. These are just examples, but those kind of exercises have been so valuable for certain kids and certain athletes, just to build that mindset.
They weren't doing this just 10 years ago.
No, not at all. But again, like, if your mind's not right, none of this shit matters.
Right. Nothing matters.
You know what I'm saying? Like, on the court, if you're thinking too much, if you're doubting yourself, if you're not believing in yourself, like, nothing matters. Like, so yeah, that's that, having the mind to be kind of up to par with, you know, what you're doing out there and your skill set just makes you even that much more dangerous. So, you know, those things kind of help. And again, it's a journey. Like I said, it's a journey. So we're all in it, you know, but
facts.
Yeah, for sure.
What are some qualities that parents should look for when looking for a trainer for their kid?
Qualities for a trainer that you're looking for? Well, one definitely is, you know, little things again, punctuality, organization, like we said, communication skills, toughness, obviously being conditioned. I mean, and again, I think you got to be conditioned. You got to be in shape. I agree. For sure. You know, again, playing career, how far they've gone. Do they have to been a professional? I'm not going to sit there and say they do, because, you know, they have to be a student. That's the number one. You got to be a student of the game, and you got to be someone who's obsessed with their craft and has work ethic. You know what I mean? Willing to push your child, willing to push themselves to push your child, whether it's 6 a.m.s, you know, and I've done some of those with different kids. By any means, like, pretty much is the mentality. By any means, we are getting in. By any means, it does not matter. If we have to, we'll make it happen. You know what I mean? So that mentality is important, because, you know, they're reliable. You know, they'll go to bat, and you know that, you know, your kid's going to get in the gym. Your kid's going to get better for sure. Okay, dope.
And so for the new trainers coming up, what do you think the best way to get clients is? Because with any industry, it's hard to get clients at the start. What are some techniques or strategies to go about that?
I mean,
or what did you do?
Getting client. Wow. I mean, it's funny, like, to think about, like, where I started, like, when I started training, you know, it was just, you know, working with my bro, my homie, Justin, over at Dream Chasers, doing stuff with him, popping in, you know, we were doing our thing. It was not really, you know, a structured thing like that per se. You know, the rates that the kids are paying, even just to think about those things, it's just like, man, like, what the hell, like, what were we doing? But again, once you feel like you believe in what you do, if you believe in your work, you know, obviously you could slowly up your price. And again, believing in your work and actually mastering, putting in the work to get better at your work is super important. So, you know, for me, it was a process. And just like the game, like, I approached training the same way. Like, I want to try, it's not a competitive thing with other trainers, but it's more with myself. Like, I want to push myself to be better, learn more, know more, be more knowledgeable, be able to help people better, be able to get people better, different approaches, whatever it is. Like I said, they got to be a student, they got to study. So studying, number one, was super, super important for me to continue to get better. And obviously the mentality of getting myself out there and being seen. You know, I got to a point where I told myself, I'm not going to say no to any opportunity to train, to get someone better, even if it didn't pay me a lot, even if it paid me nothing, even if I came out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't going to turn down the opportunity, because in the end of the day, it was an opportunity for me to close a client. One,
you weren't chasing the money, you were chasing opportunity.
Opportunity, yes. Work on my craft, and get more experience doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So yeah, like that, like I said, now it's a little different. It's not like I can say yes to everything, but, you know, going through that point where there was no no's, and it was just like, let's go all in and let's really believe in it and believe in myself and put the work in. Let's just see where it can go. So, you know, it grew from there. That's for sure. Yeah. In addition to obviously, you know, not saying no once opportunities continue to come. Obviously the platform and the media side of things is definitely super important. Like, what you're putting out there has to be clean, has to be purposeful. And like I said, Instagram trainers, people putting out nonsense, crazy ass drills, shit that makes no sense.
Is that for clout, or is that, what is that for?
I mean, maybe their inspo is coming from the wrong places. Maybe their muse is the wrong person. Maybe they haven't gotten that reality check. But at the same time, it's like, again, that also has to be an important piece, because shoot, that's the era we're in, and that's where a lot of clients are coming from. So what you're putting out there is definitely important. It has to be of substance. You know what I mean? And again, people put out a lot, people rapid fire a lot, and that's nothing wrong with that too, because your presence is there. Yeah. But if you're not doing all that, at least you're putting stuff that is quality. Like I said, quality over quantity is super important for me. And, you know, that's worked for me for sure.
Okay, dope. Actually, how do you handle all your DMs? Because I'm sure then your phone goes off like crazy.
So now those DM days are pretty much over. Do not DM me if you're trying to do a workout. I'm not really going to answer. But like now, the emails, I have a manager in Caitlin, very good friend of mine from high school, beyond the jersey. Definitely, I got to represent a little bit. She definitely has been a huge weight off my back in terms of, managing emails, invoicing, setting up workouts, gyms, sponsorships, anything, whatever it may be. She has handled that for me at a high level. So all I got a concern with at this point is showing up, knowing who I'm training and training them. Whereas, marketing things, putting things out there, it's more, people are reaching out, it's getting handled and it's going to get set up and I'm going to get in the gym with them. So, that's, like I said, huge weight. And you got to realize that you can't handle everything on your own. Mm-hmm. You can't do it. You need to build a team. It's definitely, it doesn't have to be a huge team, but it starts somewhere. And as long as it's going to help you produce more, and it's definitely helped me. So beyond the jersey, believe me.
Okay, dope. Shout out to Caitlin. Mm-hmm. So you've been through the lowest of the lows with this game and the highest of the highs. Mm-hmm. When it's all said and done with the game of basketball, how do you want to leave your impact? What is it going to look like?
Wow. Well, with me, like basketball in this country, again, it's came such a long way to me, like from player to trainer / coach now, seeing that coming up, like just the progression in it is just unbelievable. So for me, with this game, especially in this country, I want to be like a major impact, obviously on, producing more talent, obviously from a player standpoint, creating more professionals, of course, men's and women's side, and, national program, more success for them. That's super huge. Obviously, if Canada can do more at the national level, but also from a trainer's perspective, I want to, create better coaches and help, people develop better, because it's all about paying it forward. And, the better coaches we have across the country, the better players we're going to have across the country. So, just growing the development piece, is something that I feel that I want to definitely put my foot on in terms of impact. Because the development piece was everything to me growing up, staying in the gym, working, putting in hours and trying to perfect your craft. So, we have to have coaches that are doing that and helping kids and pushing kids to do all that and max their potential. So yeah, that's big for me.
Okay, dope. So we're every episode, we're going to ask 2 questions to everybody. All right. And one of them is, what is the worst advice that you've gotten? And what is the best advice you've gotten in life? And you don't have to name drop, obviously.
Oh, okay. No. Sure. So which one? Start with the best or the worst? Start with the...
whatever you want. It's cool.
Okay. I'm going to go with the best advice first.
Okay.
There's a lot of things. There's things that are relatable to things I'm doing now. I'll say 2 for the best advice. I got to say 2.
Yeah, so no worries.
One of the things, was said to me, like when I was probably in high school, was like, perfect practice makes perfect. Obviously we're not perfect.
Yeah.
We're obviously not perfect, but like practicing with that intent, focus, and with perfection in mind is going to get you
where you need to go.
And, that stuck with me in terms of, my approach to how I do a lot of things. Like I'm a very detailed person. I've always kind of been that way. And, with the training thing now, like that accountability piece to the kids, like every rep is a game rep, it's quality, it's your best. And, thinking like that, having that mindset, just giving a fuck, like really just give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the best way to put it. That's everything to me now. So, that definitely stuck home and, it's channeled now. It used to cause me stress. That perfectionist nonsense used to cause me a lot of stress, but you obviously know that's not reality, but you're aiming as high as you can aim. That's it. You know what I mean? Another piece of really good advice is, it's about the work ethic side as well. And I was probably around similar age, actually. I was around a similar age. And it was just ultimately about like, what is your competition doing, right? Outwork your competition. So outwork who works the hardest ultimately, and he'd always talk about, it was a trainer, specifically, it was the first person, like a body or a strength trainer, if you want to say.
Yeah.
God, I went there, did push-ups. I couldn't, listen, I was probably 7th, 8th grade. I think we went there like twice to train. It was far away. It wasn't close. I think I did 50 push-ups the first time I went there in grade 7, 6 or 7. And I couldn't straighten my arm for.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So yeah.
For a little while.
Yeah. And but regardless, we only went there a couple of times. Just the you know how good when you're growing up. Accessibility. You know, you don't have the right things in place. You know, family got to work if you can't really get there. But either way, the advice I got in the couple of times that I did go there was definitely just to outwork who works the hardest. You know what I mean? And to think about what is somebody doing in this place or that place or that place. When the times where you don't feel like working, you're not always going to feel good. You know, that's another thing. You're not always going to feel like, oh, tip top, like, let's do this. Like, yes, let's get to work. But sometimes you just got to put your head down and still work. You know what I mean? And that kind of has helped me a lot too, because, you know, even for myself, on bad days, you got to keep going. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? On days where, you know, your body doesn't feel like it, sometimes you got to still push through. Your mood may not be, sometimes you got to push through. Yes, we need our breaks, but sometimes you got to still push through. The show must go on, especially if it's lights, camera, action. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I definitely help my kids with that too. Like leave the baggage and just try to escape in the game and just, you know, keep going regardless, because you want to outwork. That's ultimately it, because it's all about getting that upper hand, you know, if you want to say. So that was definitely some good advice to me. And again, it's all as it relates to the game. So for sure. Bad advice. Bad advice. I'm going to say a different kind of side to this. I don't think I've necessarily gotten bad advice because, you know, it's only really, really, really bad advice if I took it. For one, I feel like I've had pretty good enough judgment to kind of filter out like things I should and shouldn't do. Decisions I've kind of made on my will, if you want to say that, were, you know, good or bad, if you want to say. So, you know, all learning experiences and growth came out of the things that, you know, we've gone through. So sure. I'd say all the advice I've gotten and taken has been pretty solid, and there was a reason for it, you know. So
dope. So I want to play this 5 years from now, just because I want to make a prediction. So where do you see yourself 5 years from now? 5 years from now.
Wow. 5 years.
It's going to creep up quick too.
Yeah, it creeps. No, definitely. I mean, definitely involved with the game, national program at a higher level. You know, definitely training a lot more professionals produced.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I'm still going to be wanting to be on the court for a little longer than I, you know, think I should be on the court for. But, you know, in 5 years, I definitely
you'll still be in shape.
Definitely. That's not a question. But, you know, I feel like I want to get involved a lot more from a coaching standpoint.
Okay, cool.
Like years down the road, I feel, you know, I'll start to
like
do
head coaching, assistant coaching, or like
to that level a little bit more. You know, definitely that facility training, having one of the best high performance training places, you know, for basketball athletes to get better. You know, from all around. I see myself traveling the world, coaching the game and teaching the game. You know, it's something that was starting to brew a whole lot before COVID hit, and then, you know, kind of had to put the brakes on for the travel thing. But, you know, just influencing the game at a global level more and having a bigger impact with it for sure is something that I see 5 years from now. So,
dope.
Yeah.
All right. That was a great interview. That's a wrap. But before you go, I just want you to give everybody your socials, and obviously do not DM him. Don't do it, because he will not answer. So where can anyone reach you?
Instagram, justb_DT. Also, there's another page, Details Matter. So DTAILS Matter. That's the handle on Instagram. It has a lot of video content. Again, you can stay tuned, check those things out. A lot of positive things, messages, videos, things that you could learn from, of course. If you want to email, detailsmatter905@gmail.com.
Dope. Right. And for everybody, that's the first episode. Please hit that subscribe button, because I'm on a race to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can get this monetized. And that's episode 1. Enjoy.